I can't feel the pain, I'm numb to all you say. To keep it real and stay 100 through the rain. I can feel there's something missing from your face. So keep it real and stay 100 in your veins. Put me in the boxes, still I'm tryna break away. I just roll it up and now some liquor for my pain. Thoughts inside my head is nightmares instead of some dreams. I've been tryna hold on to everything from the seams. Try to get it by any means. No accepting defeat with all this pressure that's on me. Trusting whenever I breathe, cause everything is on me. If everybody is down, I gotta pick up all the pieces. I can't fall, cause I do it for my dog, so she can make it fall. Ain't worry about your karma, cause I believe in karma. Time for your bullshit or any petty drama. Yeah, chinks in my arm.
And what's going on, everybody? Am I loud and clear? Am I loud and clear? Man, hey, look, I'm sorry, guys. I know that it's too soon. Like that intro video, we had Dak throwing passes to Dez. We had TV Lamb actually making plays. We had Amari Cooper making plays. I apologize for any triggering thing that I might have done in that video. So I apologize for you guys. But you guys introduce yourselves, and then we'll jump right into it.
Give it to me, Space.
Yeah. Hey guys, what's going on? This is Space Cowboy Media here. We had a game and we're pretty much all depressed and sad because literally it feels like the season ended in 3.5 quarters. But we're just gonna talk it through, have a little therapy session, and see where it goes from there.
No doubt. Hey, I'm setting up, Chris. I am one half of Franklin Football. My other partner, BH, man, he was like, I said, hey, man, you want to come in? He said, nah, man, go ahead and do it yourself. You can handle it. I was like, all right, you just going to sit me out front in front of the firing squad to deal with it. But we are Franklin Football, man. I am half of it, man. And, man, just kind of looking at what happened last night, what we kind of thought, because we had gotten together before the season started, and we had high expectations of what was going to happen. And all that came crashing down, man, by the end of the first quarter. We was like, man, I don't know what the hell this is. So we need, man, just to walk it through, man, and see what we got to look for the next 16 games.
Yeah. So I know that me and Space were some of the only ones. And I got my guy, Nix, that just jumped in. What's going on, Nix? How you doing,
Big time.
What's going on, my guy?
What's going on, guys? Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, you loud and clear, brother. What's going on,
All right, sweet, man. I'm doing pretty good. All things considered.
Yeah. Me and Space, we talked about this when Amari got cut, and man, I mean when they not cut, but when they traded him off, and we just knew that this was going to come back to bite us. And it just seems like everything that they made, every move that they made in the offseason just came back and just bit us in the ass all in one night. Everything that we thought could go wrong went wrong.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, I think we were all optimistic all off season because, you know, they've been trying to be like Jesus, turn water to wine with so many guys. You figured once they got rid of Amari, and I've said this before, and I know Space has said it before too, they got old Caucasian white man rich mad with their own money because you had no reason to get rid of Amari. Lyle, I can understand. You know, you got a guy 2019, 2020, done, you know, comes in overweight. But then with Amari was the biggest one. And I think we kind of, and we'll probably talk about it a little bit later, we kind of like say, well, Lyle wouldn't have made those same mistakes that Terrence Steele made last night. Man, I watched Lyle get his ass whipped for 3 hours yesterday on the red zone. So I would have think he would have probably been the same thing. And the problem was that it wasn't the fact you got rid of guys, but you didn't put adequate replacements for the wide receiver room. You didn't go out and spend money or go draft high enough to go get guys to do it. You know, you went and got Tyler Smith in the first round. Okay, I got you. You go in the second round, and we went and got Sam Williams. But George Pickens was there. Or somebody, Sky Moore was there. You could have went and got suitable replacements. You felt like putting them on the field in the second round or second round talent. And for your third round talent to not suit up last night is deplorable. It's absolutely deplorable. And for him to be getting beaten out by an undrafted free agent. Man, that's crazy, man.
You know, the other thing too, and we were talking about this in the space before we came up here, and when the way that they build teams, right? And this has been my biggest complaint with this front office is team building 101 is not very good here. They just, you know, they basically neglect 2 of the 3 ways to add talent, and that's via free agency, that's via a trade. So whenever you let guys go, and a lot of people's like, Knicks, you're tripping, like they'll do something. Like, no, like this team fundamentally has showed us when they let talent get out of here, they don't adequately replace it right away. Go back to Des Bryant. We saw what happened with him. They threw a bunch of guys out there, then they had to make the trade, right?
Right.
So then they go and they're trying to do this, and look, they hype it. This is what they do. They hype it, right? Because when they were going to Oxford, oh, well, Tobert's going to be the number 2, blah, blah, blah. Now, I'm not saying he's a miss. I'm not here to down on Tobert, but the fact was he was in street clothes. Meanwhile, your undrafted free agent rookie suited up in Houston. But whenever you neglect the other 2 ways to add to your team and you just do the draft and you miss, it's a bigger hit to your roster at that point because you didn't land home with that.
Yeah. And my guy, Big Game James, just jumped in the studio. My man, they got you smoking Black and Miles over there, man.
Hey, you know what I'm saying? Hey,
freaking Blacks on the first season. Come on, James.
Hey, I'm just saying, you know, hey.
Yeah, I smoked about a pack during the space earlier, so yeah, I'm with you.
You feel me? They got me drinking all kind of stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I definitely was drinking. I was definitely drinking. But, you know, that kept me calm doing the whole thing. You kept me calm doing the whole thing. But hey, Nick, going back to what you were saying. Hey, Space, go ahead. Go and run it, Space, because I wanted to ask Nick a question. But go ahead.
Sure. I mean, listen, I took a big hit before I got on here because I knew I was going to get pissed off. So
Space was going left in the Twitter space we were in.
So
Space was.
Listen, I was pissed, so I was like, let me just take a hit so I can just. Thank God it's legal here, so I could just like calm down. But anyways, to be as eloquent as possible, this team looks completely lost on all 3 phases. And the fact is that this is not like a one-part thing. Your front office needs to do their due diligence, as they like to call it, as annoying as that may sound, to bring in the ingredients for your coaches. But the key thing is you bring in these guys, and sure, you can have the conversation, right, of, well, Mike McCarthy has his friends here and stuff like that. And I get that. And yeah, I got a problem with that. But that's on the front office to tell them, listen, I don't like what you got here. Could you think about doing someone else? And then you got the players, which is in conjunction with the coaching staff and your front office, because your front office, well, your coaching staff makes recommendations. Your front office has everything to try and be like, hey, this is the guys we think you should get. But if you aren't doing those things successfully, that's a recipe for disaster. You know, I know BJ has said it numerous times. I'm pretty sure many of us have said it. There are 3 phases to building a team: through trades, free agency, and the draft. And this team only does one of those things successfully here and there. I mean, it depends, because there are, and I hate to go on, but there are moments where we force ourselves into corners like we did this year, where it was like, okay, well, we didn't sign any free agent offensive lineman when you had options, and so you force yourself to draft a lineman, which I didn't have a problem with. I'm okay with drafting a lineman, but it felt like you drafted off of need rather than best player available, which is what we kind of saw a bit with the first 2 drafts with Mike McCarthy, right? You saw CeeDee Lamb, however you may feel on him, Trevon Diggs, Neville Gallimore, Micah Parsons and company. It really felt like you were drafting for best player available in those drafts, but now it just feels like you just returned to old habits, and that's what's killing this team. And we'll get further into that, but that's just my little thing.
Okay.
Yeah, I wanted to stop real fast and shout out a super chat. Appreciate you, Life's Crazy. He said, not only didn't you replace the guys you let go, but you also did get any picks these guys can't deal for their lives, and the system is not it. Said a mouthful, but I think that's pretty much all that we all agree with that. I think pretty much Nick's kind of covered that. And I wanted to give Big Game James a chance to talk about something that me and him talked about specifically on my channel. Can we talk about that alpha energy right now, dog? Or lack thereof, because they talked about all this alpha energy, man. Feel free to talk about that.
To me, it's just a lot of talk. It's been a lot of talk. I don't believe it. I heard Space said he was mad. I'm not mad. You know why I'm not mad? Because I saw what happened last year. That was my madness. I ain't mad no more because I understand what these guys do. I understand what they are about now. I understand they're not fooling me no more. So when we talk about the alpha energy, it's just a lot of talk because they got smacked in the face. So what do they always do? They jump in the media and say, oh, we're going to do this. We're going to do that. We're going to get this. We're going to get that. And it's the same old thing, man. Now, I ain't hating on Tyler Smith because I thought he played damn good yesterday. He played damn good to me, in my opinion, playing at that left tackle. I thought the line held up, admirably considering. But to me, it's just y'all talk about this alpha and these dominant people. You talk about these alpha players, but you don't get alpha coaches. You don't get alpha coach. You want alpha players, but you won't get an alpha coach. So how do you expect if you don't let your coach be the alpha up in there? You relegate him to certain things. You think your player is going to do it. And then Stephen Jones made a comment about CeeDee Lamb. We want him to get there. We certainly feel like he can get better. We want him to be that number one. We think he can. You heard that? We think he can. See, that's the thing that I'm hearing about because 3 months ago, they were questioning CeeDee Lamb if he was the alpha dog. They were questioning if he was really the alpha. So they really didn't believe it. Then they come out and say, Stephen Jones says, we think. Y'all still don't believe it. Okay? Y'all seen that performance and y'all don't even believe it. So once again, it's a receiver by committee type thing. Y'all went out there. I'm sorry. Jarvis Landry had 7 catches for 114 yards. You could have got him on a good deal. He could have helped that receiver room, but y'all didn't do it. And so that's why I sit there and say y'all undercut Dak. Dak played like trash, in my opinion, but y'all still undercut him with those type of receivers. Y'all don't give him the commodity to make plays. You're saying, well, you're the guy now. Make it work. I don't like that. And then you got Kellen Moore still doing the same type of things. Where did you see in that offense it was different? Remember, they said Tony Pollard was going to play in the slot. Did he play in the slot?
No, he got thrown around, James. He got thrown around a lot. But keep going, because
and here's my thing. I said use Kevontae Turpin in this Bucks game. He can be a weapon in this game because you can use him. Oh, we're going to use Kevontae Turpin as a receiver. What receiver? How many times did he play receiver yesterday?
None. He got the one little read option.
Exactly.
Right. We didn't even run 12 personnel.
Here's the thing. My last thing kind of on this. You saw the Buccaneers running jet sweeps with Julio Jones. Julio Jones, old ass, excuse my language, was running jet sweeps and getting yards. We can't do something that simple. We throwing a play. It hits Dalton Schultz in the head and CeeDee Lamb. It looks like just he does the triple reverse when you running the ball down the field. You do a triple reverse. It's like, what are you doing, dog? They do these simple plays and they get yards. We do the simple plays. We get negative yards. It's just the same old thing. So I'm not believing it. And right now, it's just going to be, I said it was going to be a lame duck season. I said 12 wins, but I said it was going to be a lame duck season. And it's turning out to be what I felt it was going to be.
Okay.
Yeah. Here's one thing I want to say before I turn it over to my guy, Nix. Last year, when we played Tampa Bay, who was the guy that pun intended, who was the guy that set it all for us offensively?
Amari Cooper.
Exactly. We had that yesterday, and it was evident. It was quite evident.
Was that defense scared of our offense? Was they scared of our receivers? Hell to the no. We talked about it. Knicks, all of us, I didn't mean to cut you off, big dog, but we had all talked about, okay, CeeDee Lamb's going to be the number one. These defenses are going to say, okay, you're the number one. We're going to bracket our defenses and shut you down. And let's see what Noah Brown, Dennis Houston, Simi Fehoko, let's see what these guys can do because we ain't scared of them. They ain't going to do nothing against us, and this is what we're going to do. And you can throw the Dalton Schultz underneath all day if you want to. We don't care about that. You can have that. And that's what these defenses are going to continue to do against Dallas because they know this offense because it hasn't changed.
Same thing like last year. And the scary part is within the construct of what Kellen Moore's supposed to be doing, they're actually running the ball well at 5.2 yards a clip. And then, you know what? Let's not. Like, what are we talking about? And then, and then we get into, and I'm just strictly talking about the game plan from Kellen Moore here. We all agree last year when they had 12 personnel, right? That's where, they were really cooking. That's when things were happening for them. So you go into this game, right? Okay, look, you got the guard, you got the tackles. All right, you go 12 personnel, you get to help out the rookie, and you can attack the middle of the field a little bit, maybe help the run game a little bit more even within that. Use 12 personnel 18% of the time last night. What are you doing? Going into the show is like, look, this has got to be the year that Kellen Moore has to walk through the door as a play caller. I said last year, his first punch is really good. He has no counter punch. And we went through the games last year. If what he had designed up worked out the game, oh yeah, offense will take off and fly. If not, we all would look at each other after the first quarter like, well, it's going to be a long day, guys.
Yeah.
Let's see if we can pull this. Can we pull this thing out? And the roster last year was built very much so to go win, but we're waiting for Kellen Moore to get there. And now it's even worse now because this front office decided 12-5 wasn't good enough. Let's get that guy that stirred the old Kool-Aid a little bit and Mari Cooper up out of here amongst other guys, and he didn't properly replenish them. The Cowboys, and I just want to get this point off and I'll shut up. We're in this predicament because the front office, Stephen Jones and them, chose to put this team in this predicament. They didn't have to. They wasn't cash strapped. They didn't have to get rid of the guys they got rid of, and they still could have went and signed and added guys. How do you think D-Law feels? He took the deal so Gregory would be here. Guess what? Overnight, Jerry Jones, midnight, got the deal done to come in the next morning. It's not even Steven. It's another dude over here, and now there's different language. They're like, F it. We're out. We already got another deal. You could have went and took that money and did something with it, that contract. They did nothing with it. And, here it is. I mean, the defense is doing what it needs to do. I think if we were told before the game, hey, we're giving up 19 points, I feel like we won the game. Honestly.
Yeah. I thought we would have won, like 27-19 or something like that.
Right. But instead, you stripped this offensive down just because you want to be petty, because you wouldn't get the vaccination. You didn't properly fix it, because here's what should have happened. James Washington got hurt. Okay, go sign another guy. I mean, we got to look right now. Cedric Wilson was our number 4 wide receiver last year. If he's on this team right now, he's your number 2.
But they wouldn't go. But Knicks, they wouldn't go give him that money. I felt like, and they wouldn't go give him the money that Miami gave him. I felt like,
which wasn't money. That wasn't a lot of money.
Well, I mean, if you go back and look at
the Cowboys operate, though.
Yeah, the way the Cowboys operate is a lot of money. Here's my thing. I think all of us have been in a relationship, right, where we know we want out, but at the point in that time, this person provides something that we don't have. So in week 17, when Michael Gallup blew his knee out, all your feelings about Amari Cooper, about him not getting the vaccination, going to the Maverick game unmasked, all this other stuff should have went out the window and said, hey, at the end of the day, we can draft another guy, get him prepared. What's the use of running Gallup back out early now? Reigns hurt, right? You will rush him back to week 4 for who? Cooper Rush or Will Greer? Huh? And mess up draft commodity. Because right now, I'm being honest with you, I'm right brick on my brick. I'm trying to figure out how I can stockpile as many losses to get me into the top 10 picks, because they've already shown me they're not going to work in free agency. So if I'm only going to draft and develop, then I need to be pick 10, pick 42, 56, 74. I need 4 guys in the top 100, since I know we're not going to go out free and spend no money. Having this $23 million in the pocket or in the boot just to turn around and say, oh, hey, we're going to lure Sean Payton out. I have a certain feeling about Sean Payton that I think like Mike McCarthy and Sean Payton are Spider-Man pointing at each other to me, because both of them had Hall of Fame quarterbacks. They turned around and won 1 Super Bowl, and they turned around. They hadn't did anything since then. Got to the playoffs, lost dramatically. And so they're the same guys. The guy that you have to change is your play caller. Nick, you spot on with that. You have no identity of what you're doing. If Zeke is getting 5 yards a clip, you keep running it until they show you they can stop it. If you try to do that, you shorten the game because that's what you needed to do. Because like you said, and James, I know you're going to say it, 19 points, I'm taking that. 19 points and keeping that dude out the end zone, I'm taking that because all I need is 1 to 2 touchdowns. You would have walked in and said they scored 1 touchdown, man, you've been ecstatic. You've been over the moon.
Right.
Instead, you turn around and look like, man, you don't even look like a high school team.
Right.
You look like a Pop Warner team out there. On the 3rd play of the game, you're running a double reverse. What the hell they do that at, man? How do you do that at?
I don't know. Movies. He tried to run the annexation of Puerto Rico. I don't know.
Did y'all hear what? Did y'all hear what the linebacker White from Tampa said after the game?
Now what he said?
He said, because Jerry Jones on first second, all this, we're going to run the ball and we're going to go as Zeke goes and all that stuff. They literally said, like, yeah, we didn't believe him. We knew they weren't going to keep running the ball, and hence why they were just playing 4-man fronts, 3-man fronts, and dropping 7 or 8.
Dropping 7. I mean,
he literally said it right after the game, like, no, we didn't believe they was going to run the ball, and they didn't.
Dude, they threw the ball 42 times.
Yeah,
Space. They threw it 42 times, man, with this wide receiving core.
Well, we didn't need to. Did you know at one point they had Zeke Elliott out the game 3 possessions in a row?
Mm-hmm.
What did he do to get benched? He essentially got benched. What did he do?
They were giving. Well, they want to give you more Pollard. Remember, they told us that it was going to be more Pollard, more split.
But then they weren't even giving him the ball. He was in there blocking.
PFF said he did better blocking than Zeke, though.
Who? Where? In what world? In what world? I mean, go ahead, Space.
So you look at the stat line, and if you told me Tom Brady went 18 for 27, 212 for a touchdown and interception, I'm probably thinking you win the game. And maybe you sack him twice. I'm like, okay, Tom Brady's a pain in the ass to sack sometimes. Cool. You sack him twice. Cool. Then you tell me, oh, Leonard Fournette, his big ass running 21 carries, 127 yards, like averaging 6 yards a clip. Oh, hell no. That's a problem because that tells me you didn't address one of the biggest concerns that I had, which was the interior, or rather the run defense more in particular, because that's been something that's plaguing the Cowboys for years now. And you have done nothing to address this. Or you try and you act like you're doing it, but you don't. Then you have your running back running 5 yards a clip, and you're like, me shockingly, I'm Mr. Passes the ball first. And I'm like, hey, just run the ball. It's working. Like there was a moment where I felt the Bucs defense was kind of starting to get a bit, burnt out with how we were running the ball for a little bit. And then we stopped. And I was like, all right, something's wrong here. Like, okay, is someone calling Kellen, like, listen, you got to start passing this fucking ball. We need to see these offensive weapons looking. The offensive line shocked me a bit. In some regards good, other regards bad. Terrence Steele pissed me off so much because penalties are still a problem. You had 10 penalties, 8 of which came offensively, 4 of which came from one man, and I think 3 of which on the same drive or something like that. That is a big red flag. And we talked about, I know, Chris, you mentioned Lyle getting let go. And kind of to go in conjunction with Nixon, you have been saying, it's cool if you let these guys go, but you need to know the roadmap. You still don't know if Steele's your guy. I was kind of a bit high on him because I was like, maybe you got something. But that's a problem, and that's an indictment on Joe Philbin, which I know I can't speak for all of you, but I know that I'm not a fan of. I think that, you really have a problem. Now your offense is looking so depleted to the point to where you literally look like you have to scrape the whole thing down and start it from scratch, which, right. And not even just with the players. I'm talking about even with the coaches too.
Yeah. It goes back to, and I talk about a lot, is adequate NFL depth. I'm not talking about having Pro Bowlers and all pro guys across the board. That's not what I'm saying. But you have to have adequate NFL depth at times. And we looked at the wide receiver in the offensive line, and we knew, like, as soon as Maletsico went down, like the first week of camp, we're like, okay, we probably need to do something here. Nothing. James Washington went down. Okay, we probably need to add somebody here. They did nothing. So we're looking at the injuries like Basham 1 to 2 weeks with a thigh bruise, Curse 2 to 4 weeks now. But you're not panicked because you have adequate NFL depth at those two roster spots. Meanwhile, in the offense, there's no adequate depth anywhere. Yeah. And this is really, and again, I want to pound it home. Man, it's on Stephen Jones in his front office. It just is. And it's just, frustrating because it didn't have to be this way. They chose this. That's the bad part about it.
We've often come up with the theory that, maybe because Dak beat them on a deal that he earned, that maybe it's sabotage. Does anybody here feel that way? Like, I mean, I feel
yes, and yes. I'm not gonna. Yes, and I'm sorry to interrupt, but for the life of me, know this front office can be inept, and I know that that's been a thing for years. I mean, you go look at the evidence, and it shows itself. You literally did nothing but sign 5 outside guys, really 6 if you include Barr and Handful, but I don't care. You only signed 5 guys, which you can argue were backups or fringe level starters. That's not really adequate, especially with how much you lost. Then the circumstances of your offense, and you're like, hey, listen, we're paying, and I'm going to add this little sprinkle in there too. I got to blame the fans too, because they're buying into this Jones bullshit. And that's a problem, because if you allow them to get away with it, then they have an excuse to be like, see, now we can do this because the fans aren't going to be mad. I mean, they do shit regardless, just being real. But when you create that avenue for them to do something, and then you continue to let the cycle repeat itself, that's where we run into the problem.
Space, you're not going to duck on me for going to that game yesterday. Don't you do it.
Oh, no, sir. Listen, I cannot tell you how to spend your money. All I can tell you is just like, it's more so the media realm of it.
Yeah.
The media is the most important. Listen, they're going to make their money regardless. That's not going to matter. All the boycott crap, that's not going to work. I know the ticket prices dropped, but
$34 for the Bengals game.
But to finish this off, listen, we hear everybody's mad, and then I'm seeing people pointing the fingers here, and here. But it's funny because not everyone's really looking at the situation. They're just looking at that game. Not saying anyone here, but they're looking at this game and they're saying, your quarterback played like shit and you're paying the guy $40 million. You should have done something. Oh, you're paying all this money, or you got this coach here. You should, but no one's talking about the front office like at all, or they're not asking him the proper questions. Then you have Steven saying like, oh, well, we need to do better at calling plays and all this other bullshit. But
okay, but I got a question. I got a question to all y'all right quick.
Okay.
I hear about Kellen Moore and the bad play calling, and I agree. And I hear about, front office didn't do any favors with not getting him receivers. We got to lay some of this on Dak right here too.
Yes.
Yeah, sure.
Because you know what? He didn't play good the last time we seen him. And he came out here and he looked like the same type player. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm getting frustrated with him missing throws that he should make. There was at least 3 throws where guys were open and he overthrew them, threw bad passes. And it's like he's still doing those same type things. So as much as I'm going to lay this on the front office, I got to lay this on Dak too. I mean, 7 years in the game, he's still doing these same type of throws. I'm frustrated with that. I feel like there's got to be advancement in that. Now, I don't feel like Kellen Moore is probably the coordinator for him, but who is? You get what I'm saying? When we talk about the offense not really getting the players, the defense does. So do they favor Dan Quinn? Does Dan Quinn have a lot of clout in the building? Because that defense gets the players it needs, doesn't it? When they need players on defense, they get them. On offense, they don't get them. Is that Kellen Moore? Is that Mike McCarthy? What's going on? Because they don't replenish the offense, but they hook up the defense. And when you were talking about Sean Payton, Chris, I was feeling you. But you know what? To me, it's going to be between Sean Payton and Dan Quinn, because Jerry Jones was talking very highly of Dan Quinn too. And if this defense is continuing to keep this team in the game and they get rid of Mike McCarthy, who you think is going to get elevated? The guy who's already been a head coach and has done this. You get what I'm saying? Dan Quinn. He's going to be the guy that's going to be next up, especially if this season goes bad and they just say we're done with McCarthy. I feel like it's going to be Dan Quinn. But even then, are they really going to give him the keys? You feel what I'm saying? Like, will he become subservient to them? Because, like I said, they don't want those type of coaches that are headstrong. They don't want a headstrong type coach. They want to be able to control the whole arena of this. And I want to go one thing to what BJ said, which was huge when he talked about we don't go out in free agency. They don't do it, right? So they put all their eggs in the draft. And what BJ was saying, I agree. If you don't hit on it, that hurts you. That's setting you back because you're putting all your chips on these draft picks. You're hoping these young players who've never played in NFL, what's so crazy how Stephen Jones don't want to go out there and gamble on free agents, but he gambles on young players who's never played in NFL because they're cheap and they don't cost a lot of money. So I'll take that gamble on them rather than a guy who's been there and done it because I don't want to spend no money. And that's the problem that hurts the Cowboys because if those rookies don't step up, because right now, in my opinion, Dallas only got 2 superstars on the team, Micah Parsons and Zach Martin. If those superstars, if those stars that the Cowboys don't have play like superstars, Dallas ain't winning because they're putting all their chips on those guys and these young rookies. To me, that don't make sense to me because you got to get some kind of guys who've been there and done that to kind of elevate your team. You saw you could have got a Von Miller. You saw he wrecked shop. You saw he went crazy. You could have made it happen. It could have helped your defense. It could have helped your team. There was, like I said, I mentioned Jarvis Landry. He could have helped your team. He could have helped your squad. You get what I'm saying? I love Jake Ferguson, but you could have got a Hayden Hurst for the cheap. You could have got that and brung the rookie along slowly. Like you could have added and helped your team take it to the next level. But it's like BJ said, or I think maybe Space, oh, well, Amari didn't get a shot, so it ain't even about the money. It's personal. Bye. So you're going to hurt the team because you in your feelings because he didn't take a shot? That's crazy to me. And I'm sorry. You got an 80-year-old GM, 80-year-old GM on First Take going back and forth with Stephen Jones. We're a mockery. People laugh at us. Organizations laugh at us. Teams, players. Y'all still on the TV doing this stuff. We don't take y'all serious. And that's what I feel like around the league.
Yeah. And Stephen Jones, I mean, he's not a football guy.
Nope. Neither one of them are.
You know?
I
mean, at least
one of them are.
At least Jerry did play college football.
But so I'm saying, but they both play some type of form of football. But here's the thing: after they let the football guy go, what has happened?
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
Well, I mean, the last football. So y'all are basically saying the last football guy was Parcells, correct?
I think Parcells was past his time, in my opinion. Parcells was past his time, in my opinion. It was like Jerry was like, okay, y'all need to shut up. I'm going to go get a headstrong coach. Y'all just shut the hell up. You know them shut up signings. He'll do it with a coach, too. Parcells would make us to shut up. But as soon as Parcells got in there, Jerry jumped in there and started meddling. Parcells said, and I know T.O. did good. Parcells, I don't want that guy. Don't do that. What did Jerry do? He went out and got it. So you cut your coach already, and your coach is like, all right, see, you want me to go do these things, but you don't let me do it. And that is the problem.
Parcells was brought here to get AT&T Stadium built.
Probably.
I think Parcells helped you get it. I've always said this. Tony literally put it on his back, kept you relevant long enough to get the Joker built up. And that's that. But I think what ends up happening is they want to be the one to say, we went and found that guy. See, Garrett was supposed to be the guy they went and found. And he turned around and they made him the head coach. So they did that. But I think if you elevate Quinn from where he is, I think you make the same mistake that you made with Wade Phillips. Because Wade Phillips is a Hall of Fame, in my opinion, defensive coordinator. I think Dan Quinn is the Hall of very, very good. Yeah. Hall of very, very good defensive coordinator. I think the issue is that the guy you probably should have went and got, Miami went and got, and you went and got Mike Daniels. But Mike Daniels is another OC. So you got to go find that offensive coordinator who has a mindset and will build a philosophy that you can use. And what we've watched this team do in the last 2 games we watched them play, they have abandoned the run before they needed to in tight football games because this defense is going to keep you in games. This defense that they've assembled is the best defense they've had in Dallas in the last 10 years. This is this is as good as this is better than the 2016 defense. It's better than 2016 defense. 14 couldn't tackle couldn't sack a one-legged man.
But Chris,
Go ahead.
they still struggling with Space Cowboy mentioned this, and I mentioned this as well. I love this defense, but
Right.
I said the run game was something that you have to look at because Dallas gave up over 114 yards rushing last year, and that's always been the Achilles heel as
I think
Dallas
they got
on the defense.
but James, I think they got tired.
He went
I think
crazy
they
on
got
us.
tired. I think they were on the field
Right.
too long.
But he was doing that early. It wasn't
Yeah,
like he
it-
was
it
doing
was
that
a
late. He
scheme
was doing
thing.
that all game.
It was
Yeah,
the
they were-
left side though, because after they went to the right a couple,
Because Trevor
and-
Diggs
and-
don't want to tackle nobody.
And D-Law made that
They were
big tackle
sending
in
him
the
with that
backfield.
tackle.
The rest of the game, it was all to
Yeah,
the left side.
they ran one side. But James, you a stud. I'm not jumping out in front of no daggone big ass guard coming around the corner like that, man.
But you got to be able to tackle. They continue to go after him.
Yeah,
you
one
see
time he
that
pirouetted about
Did
it.
you see that one time where he ran away from the
Yeah.
whole
He did.
offensive lineman? And then when Leonard Fournette had a one-on-one with him, and Trevin Diggs is good for this, he throws his shoulder in and doesn't want to wrap the tackle. That has been his problem. I'm not hating on Diggs, but that was his issue in college. That's been his issue. He won't tackle. And when teams see that, they're going to run to your side because they know once we get past that edge, we're going to get a whole bunch of yards because this dude don't want to tackle. That's one of the reasons why, in my opinion, they kept going to that side because he kept running away from the contact.
Yeah, and schematically.
But my problem is because they didn't set the edge. That's on Dorrance. That's on. I mean, didn't we bring Anthony Barr in to be kind of that fill-in kind of linebacker? I mean, most Cowboys YouTube creators, they can't stand LVE, but LVE had a great game last night. He was solid in all phases. Barr didn't do anything for us last night. He on the stat sheet he got tackled, but I remember a play he made, on the opposite side of the line of scrimmage. So I think, Diggs made some business decisions. He made quite a few, but that's still up to the point of that other linebacker outside of Parsons, outside of LVE. Anthony Barr could have played a little bit better. I think that they could have, set the edge a little better. I didn't think Dorrance set the edge that good. Did Dante Fowler even play last night? Did Fowler play last night?
Dante, I didn't see him.
Yeah. Think about it.
I don't remember him. But honestly, our interior, we've had trouble with teams down blocking our interior and getting around on the pool. And that's what Cisco did, and schematically, that's what Tampa Bay did last night, and we struggled with it, and we didn't find the answer with it until Micah Parsons started playing the edge because he was getting caught in the wash as when he was playing the mic. So once Tom Brady was actually calling the plays at the line, and they were running away from D-Law, and they were catching them in the wash, and here we go, we got a tackle on Trayvon Diggs. Big ups to Tom Brady because that's what it's supposed to look like. And that's where I kind of fault Dak a little bit because I don't think Dak necessarily checks the run plays that's going to put us in good situations. Tom Brady did that all night for them.
Yeah, I think.
Go ahead, Space. Go Space.
No, I've always felt the biggest problem with this team going from Dak to your players is that it's a corporate culture that seeps in, and it's like they don't want to get better. You see what I mean? Like when you have guys like that come in, like I'm trying to find a good example. So like, remember when we saw that jump from Dak from 2018 to 2019 from like, okay, can this guy be good at passing the ball? And then you kind of saw that next level come out because you had a guy that was not afraid to coach him hard. That's the problem is like, I'm not a fan of this whole, I'm going to have your best friend as your offensive coordinator and I get it. That relationship's important. I'm not trying to sit here and act like that's some nonsense, but the fact is like, I need you to be as good as you can be. Right. And if I, as your friend, am not trying to criticize you as much, then why are you not going to get you don't know how you're going to get better. You don't know and it just feels very corporate-esque. And that goes from how you go out and get free agents. That goes about how you go about developing players. I mean, dude, I have to go out and see on Twitter, oh, wow, look at all the suits these guys are wearing. I don't give a damn about that. I don't care about all the nice little suits they're wearing and stuff like that because they want to make it look like a spectacle. But then when I have to listen in on the failures of your players not playing well, and that's on them because they are going out there and they're not doing their job. And then I have to listen to, hey, are you going to do anything to teach this guy how to get better? And you're not really saying much. That's another problem. That's a big problem I have. And that's why I feel like if you're not getting this type of coaching, you're not going to hit your ceiling. Or if you hit your ceiling, you're not refining it. You see what I mean? It just feels so, corporate-y.
Yeah, shout out to Connor Williams down there in Miami at center.
Oh wow.
What about Connor in Miami?
Oh yeah, played center, highest grade on the offensive line down there. I think PFF had him somewhere on 84 to 86. Just got a little different coaching and moved positions because the Cowboys tried to put him in center during the Arizona preseason game. All they couldn't step the ball well. All right, forget about it, and let him walk out the door, and he's down there doing this thing. Well, I'm going to pay very close attention to that throughout the season if that carries on. He did against the Patriots, but going back to this offensive line coach and Joe Philbin and the progress or lack thereof of some of these guys and these guys leaving and picking up, I think it's very important to how they're going to carry this thing moving forward.
Okay. I mean, you know, I've heard Knicks, I've heard you, I've heard Big Game James go on this about this front office forever.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of times I'm like, yeah, they got a point. They kind of spot on. But here we are, 2022. In the next, if Dak is out for the next six to 8 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
I heard it was 8 to 10.
Okay, 6 to 8, 8 to 10, whatever. So if he's out 10 weeks and you're looking at these next 8 to 10 games, what do you expect the record to be? Give it to me, James. What you think?
Well, with Dak, I had him at 4-4 going to the bye. So now, like I said, I had him 0-2 starting out, but then you had Washington and the Giants right after that. I felt we could get those W's, and then I felt like we're going to take some L's against the Rams and the Eagles, but we would get the Giants. The Lions and the Bears kind of ended. But now when I look at it, I already said them Lions ain't them same Lions. They're a better team. And then you saw how the Giants played. I'm not saying they're world beaters, but they played. They don't have nothing to lose. When you don't have nothing to lose, you play different. You get what I'm saying? Washington has we know Carson Wentz, he goofy, but he's the best quarterback they had in a very long time. So now I'm looking at it differently because I love our defense, but defense is going to be on that field a lot, especially if they don't go out and we're using Cooper Rush. I'm sorry.
It is going to be Cooper.
You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So if I'm going 4-4, like you said, it might be a 2-6. It really might be because Dallas doesn't know how to. Where have you seen Dallas rise above adversity? Since we've been really watching these boys, right? When Dallas has some serious adversity, when have you seen Dallas rise above it? No, when a big time player goes down, season over. That's what this happens with Dallas. So why would I feel like it would be any different now?
Yeah, I think the answer has to be. I think it's going to come back after week 9 after the bye. That's kind of where I think that's where Dak's going to slide back in. Is where I'm at. We'll see. Okay. But I think the Cowboys to save their season have to find 3 wins. They have to be at least 3-5 by the time Dak gets back here because the back half of the schedule isn't as menacing as it has been in years past for the Cowboys. So they have opportunity to kind of hit a run here. You are going to get Gallup back eventually, right? Okay. And you're going to get a little what meager James Washington will be back. You're getting some little help here on the offensive side, but they got to find a way to win 3 games and be 3-5 by the time Dak comes back. If they don't get 3 games, sun's getting low, fellas, on the season.
Yeah, and this is my fundamental belief, and I know some people won't be the fan of it, so others might, depending on how you look at things. The thing is that it really comes down to what happens in these next couple weeks, because let's say the Cowboys just by some miracle are like 2-2, then I'm kind of like, okay, you know what? Maybe you could think about bringing them back. However, I don't think that's going to happen. If you are at the bye at 1-7, 0-8, like I'm just talking about like lower than that, just tank. There's no reason to try and muster something. There's no point in ruining draft position when you can, like, listen, you're going to need like a lot of capital if you're trying to rebuild this thing, which they're trying to do on the fly. I just don't believe in trying after a certain point. And I know some people get mad at me saying that because they like, oh, Space, you're just throwing in the towel. But it's like, what incentive do you have to win games, especially if you're like 1-7? Why would I screw up getting a top 3, top 5 pick and get a top 10? You see what I mean? And like, I have to revisit this after the next couple weeks because and also I don't want him to bring anybody in here because hey, I thought
me too.
So
I'm with you. Stick to your plan. Stick to your plan.
Listen,
you don't want to $40 million quarterback. Don't bring in Cooper Rush.
No, don't even bring in Rush. Bring in Gucci Danucci. We'll be okay, guys. And I'm telling you, I hate saying that, but I will say just to reiterate, unless and like Nick said, if you don't muster 3 wins, shut this thing down. Shut this thing down. Close the lights off. Let's get draft season rolling, and let's just try to get as good of a pick as we can.
Well, I'm going to throw a hypothetical at you guys because nobody saw when Tony Romo went down the preseason, Dak coming out and winning and getting his team to what did we go 12-1 or something like that?
13-3 that year.
We were 13-3 that year. Yeah,
but nobody expected that to happen. Cooper Rush has won a game in his only start. What if we somehow end up 4-4? I say 4-4.
Oh, okay. I was like, where are you going?
Do you bring Dak back or do you keep it kind of rolling? Because I would think with this team, 4-4 isn't that bad. I would kind of think that that's solid.
Well, I want to just say this real quick.
They're going to play the money, fella.
Because, see, and this is, I felt the same way when Romo got hurt. I said this back in 2016. I felt like Dak was good enough as a rookie, given what we saw. Did I think he was going to do what he did? No, I didn't, but let's just be real there. But I was like, if you can somehow stay 500 by the time Romo comes back, sure.
Same thing. Yeah.
Bring him back in because it's not like the team is playing so phenomenally well to where like you can't F that up. But if we're sitting at a point where the team is playing very sound football and we're actually like a good team, have a different conversation there. If it's like we somehow get to 4 wins and this offense is still looking like crap, or it's just like you kind of need that guy as your signal caller to make it a little bit better, then yeah, bring him back. But again, it depends on how you get those wins, number one, and then number two, how many? That's your biggest question marks.
Yeah, the only reason I asked that question is because in that Minnesota game when Cooper Rush started, we started doing things that we hadn't done all year, which was find Amari Cooper. We were actually throwing the ball to our playmakers one-on-one. What if they, like we think there's a possible sabotage job, what if they have better game plans for Cooper Rush and we somehow get to running the football? The defense is, starting to get stops and we win games 13-10, 16-13 and stuff like that. I don't think it's going to happen, but it's a possibility. I didn't see Dak Prescott coming in as good as he did, and us ended up being 13-3.
Well,
so
is it going to be Zeke, 2016 Zeke that's going to be behind Cooper Rush?
Well, I'll tell you what, Zeke didn't look that bad. He didn't look that far off last night.
No. Think about that. No. Listen, you got to split those carries.
There you go, Nick.
Listen, you got to split them carries.
Ezekiel Elliott. Yeah. 2016. Yes. Ezekiel Elliott. An absolute nightmare.
Ezekiel Elliott would have broke some of them tackles and been out, but he probably was about 2018, 2019 Zeke, something like that. He wasn't bad.
This team with a better game plan, dedication to the run. And that's why I think, if anything, for Mike McCarthy to save his football, have his mortality of his football life extended, he's got to be more in-depth with this offense. He's got to be able to say, hey, man, we're running this football. We're going to run this football till they stop us. And I think that helps out in a lot of different areas. Brady didn't make a lot of amazing passes, but when you have to take a step to wait with the running game and got to respect it, it's going to give people one-on-one. Them jokers were dropping 7 every single time. I mean, it was 4, drop 7. And okay, we'll give them 8, we'll give them 9 yards. because they didn't feel, like you said, Space, and like you said, James, they were not going to stay committed to the run. So going back to your prediction, now you kind of got to start doing it, because we don't win that Minnesota game without a miracle by Amari. You remember that pass up the sideline? They got batted by the defensive back, and then Amari caught it, and then he made a great catch in the back. You don't win that game without some miraculous stuff and the defense playing the way that they played. So I think the defense will take a tick and be better, but you're going to need to simplify everything. You're going to have to, keep it simple. Keep it simple, stupid. And you're going to have to run the football and hope, hope we hit a play here, there. My thing now is, do you even let Noah Brown play another game, or do you just go ahead and go with the movement with Simi Fehoko, with Jalen Tolbert, and just figure out what you have? Because, man, ain't nobody scared of Noah Brown. Yeah. And that pass down the sideline. I mean, that pass down the sideline, Simi could have really bolstered his worth by just making that catch. And it's just so many one-offs that they had last night. But I think the big thing none of us have really talked about, we talked about kind of, the offense was moving, but penalties have still continued to be an issue and a problem for this team. I think the one that kind of got me, that of all the ones that pissed me off, was the one on CD, when, you got a small dude chasing me, and he can't help because God genetically made him small that he gets bumped in the head by my elbow. But you watch Mike Evans double tap Diggs, slap him twice in the head, give him a couple passes to the head, and he gets the one hand him and catch him. And Diggs looks at him like, yo, man, this dude, the same thing. So it's like, you don't want to say the refs have it out for you or you make it easy for them, but something just don't fit right with me with three guys in the interior of Tampa's line, and they didn't get not one single solitary holding call.
Oh my God, dude! They held Micah Parsons by the wrist one time when he ran by somebody. I've never seen that in football.
And we see that, right? But and I don't think they called the holding on us either. But some of this stuff was like kind of blatant. Am I being is my fandom coming out my eyes or what?
Nah, they were at one point. Micah Parsons got tackled in the hole, like the dude gave him a bear hug. It was god awful on the third down. We stopped them, but I'm just like, come on, bro. Like that's pushing them back in that field position.
Yeah. To me, obviously you throw a penalty anywhere. To me, it's always about the point of attack. Where did it happen at? And back to the Diggs, right? You double tapped his head, and you gave him a shove. Even no call there, And it's at the point of the attack for me is really where I look at him. Like when they're running the ball and you can see the jersey get pulled from a guy, you got to call that one. Now, if the wide receiver on the other side, away from where this ball is going, might have held the cornerback, we don't need to throw that. But when it's at the point of attack and it affects where the ball's going, what's happening, you got to make them calls on either side. That ain't just the Cowboys. That's just the NFL philosophy for me in general.
That's what's up.
Yeah.
But yeah, man. I mean, and like y'all said, 4 games, man. If you're 4-4, Jesus. See,
I'm over the moon for 4-4. I'm over the moon for 4-4.
Me too.
I don't know how they win 4 games.
I mean, if you're 3-5, Jerry gonna get the hat out. He gonna sell this thing. Hey, he gonna sell it, and we gonna be up in here with the red Kool-Aid guy busting through our door. Yeah,
nope,
we can
I ain't drinking none of that Kool-Aid.
Not
me, bro.
James, you a dog. I love you.
I'm out of here
but you gonna take a sip of this delicious Kool-Aid.
Not me and James are in that same thing.
Hey, when I tell you I'm over it, dog. Like I'm done with that. I'm not believing anything they say. Yeah. They say all this stuff. I don't listen to what they say. They lie. I don't care what they do is go ahead. I was just going to say, man, they just say the propaganda. Jerry's good at what he does. He's good at speaking to the public. He's good at bringing the people back in, and that's what he does. It's like if they sit there and wait for damage control, and then he starts jumping out in the media and saying, well, we're going to do this, and we're going to make sure we do that, and it just to try to calm the ease of the raucous Cowboys fans. But like Space Cowboy says, I mean, really, we just got to stop really supporting it like that. And it ain't saying that we don't love our squad, dog. That's what I'm trying
Right.
to tell y'all. It ain't revoking about my team. I love the Cowboys, but I don't
Right.
love the Joneses. I love the Cowboys before the Joneses came around. I was a Cowboys fan before the Joneses were here. I was faithful. I'm still faithful, but I don't agree with how they're doing this team. And I'm sorry, they don't have the sense of urgency. Stephen Jones keeps on saying, we want our team, we want our fans to be patient. We're doing everything. No, we're not. You're not doing everything we can. Like I said, this team is worth $8 billion. I don't know how that doesn't resonate with other people. You're worth $8 billion. You haven't been to a Super Bowl. You haven't been to a championship. You've won 3 whole games in 26 years, yet you're the #1 selling organization in all of sports. You tell me where the motivation is to change.
Exactly. And like for look, I'm pretty sure I'm the youngest person.
Hey, go, bro.
Listen, I'm pretty sure I'm the youngest fellow on this panel at 24 years old. And obviously me being post-dynasty child, a lot of us like, and I have friends that are in the same opinion where we're like, dude, like how the hell can we watch this team? Like, it's like, especially because as we're coming of age, when Steven's kind of starting to fully take control and we're starting to kind of like actually see what's going on, we're kind of like, why are we even caring about this team? You know, and I always say I get mad, like, you know, and I had a conversation with a good friend of mine, my best friend. He was like, you know, Rick, why you keep getting stuff? Because I'm like, I love this team. I want them to do well. But he's like, but are they really loving you back? And I'm like, well, not really. And he's like, well, maybe you just got to, you know, kind of go the apathetic route. And I felt that. I'm like, listen, will I be upset what they do? Yeah, sure. But I'm not going to like, I kind of learned to just listen until you get past that divisional round and prove me wrong. I'm not going to care what you do in the offseason. I'm not going to care about, like, sure, I love the draft process. I love it because I love, you know, how that whole thing works. But I don't care what you're going to tell me what you can and can't do. Or at the end of the day, there's only so much pie and we got to chop the wood and all this dumb Stevenisms.
365 player acquisition every day.
And it's like,
do we got all the cliches though, don't we?
Oh, no. Listen, I have a whole card full of them, but
y'all want to finish the fight still or no?
Hey, no lie. I almost made the title of this "No Dak, No Glory Hole," but then I said, "Nah, I'm gonna cut it."
Oh my goodness, yeah.
You want to lose that much? But no, we like I've not gotten to that point. I'm gonna just be real with you. A good chunk of people my age are like, listen, I can't do this shit anymore. Like, I can't. No, they don't care. Like, you know, someone would tell me, hey, I'm at work and they're like, hey, at least my team tries to win. And I'm like, man, I don't really think about that. That resonates because a lot of younger Cowboys fans are not as in tune. Some are, but not a lot of them. And I think that's what we haven't seen yet, but I think it's going to happen. I mean, you're looking at the rest of the schedule. I mean, this is the most apathetic I've seen this fan base and like ever.
I think a part of that is simply coming. It's the back-to-back of it here. How they lost to the Niners and all the spill, all the talk. We watched the moves. All of us talked about these moves, like, you know, and all these things. And then, okay, but hey, they're selling the old steak. Well, they're getting there and everything. And then the very next game since the Niners, a lot of things resonated kind of the same. It wasn't the same exact game as the Niners game, but boy, it was in the ballpark. It was a lot.
It was close. It was real close. The defense kept the offense in the game. Yeah, right. That's the only difference was Tom Brady.
To me, it wasn't close because it was never like to the point I thought we were going to win. At least in the 49 game,
I agree. I agree.
I had the hope that we were going to win. Oh, we're going to make a play here. Something was going to happen there. But I'm with you guys 100%, 110%. It looked like, okay, we just turned the clock back and we did the thing. And we all knew coming into it, we didn't get stronger. We got worse. And I think we're just great at putting, lipstick on a pig. We're going to try to dress it up and say, hey, man,
I like
it's
that
good work. James Washington, good work. CeeDee Lamb was the first round draft pick. This offensive line. Yeah, we know Tyron is used to getting hurt, but this year, and I said it, hey, Tyron, Tyler Smith is going to put 2 years on Tyron's career. And I'm like, after I tweeted, I'm like, man, this Kool-Aid is delicious because we knew he was going to get hurt. We knew that was going to happen. So Even if you went ahead and when you brought in Jason Peters, you should have brought in Eric Fisher. God dang it, and just go with that direction. Hey, just do that so that God forbid you can have a swing. But with Connor McGovern going down, and you got to put Fournier in there, and then Fournier gets hurt, but now you got to rush Peters to even try to make this offensive line serviceable, and you're going to put Cooper, who none of us believe Cooper Rush is an adequate backup.
Nope.
And with this
he would not be playing with any NFL team. He would not be playing with no NFL team. Just like Jason Garrett.
He got cut.
He
got cut. He was on the practice squad.
That's what I'm saying, man.
Hey, man, just go ahead, James.
I didn't mean to cut you off, but just look at like when we talk about Kellen Moore, the same thing, just with Jason Garrett. Dog, he's not okay. They fired Jason Garrett, right? I say he would never coach again in the NFL. He's not an NFL coach. He went right over to the Giants. I felt like that was one of those, we feel sorry for you. Maybe we want to try to prove you wrong. We want to stick it in Dallas's face and show that we can win with them. And guess what you found out? He ain't no good. He's in the booth, and he ain't coaching in the NFL ever again in your life. And that's the same thing with Kellen Moore. He's not an alpha guy. We go back to this DMV.
He's a college coach.
He is not an alpha guy at all. That's why he didn't get a head coach job in the NFL, because ain't nobody in the NFL going to listen to him besides the Dallas Cowboys. Okay? Nobody. That's why he's not getting hired, because the only players that will listen to him is the Dallas Cowboys, and they're being forced to listen to him because they're forcing them down the throat, and Stephen Jones and Jerry Jones. Mike McCarthy came over. Yeah, you can hire anybody you want, but you got to keep Kellen. Right there, you messed it up all right there, because y'all felt like he was still boy wonder. Y'all wanted Jason Garrett to be that guy. Okay, wasn't nobody beating up Jason Garrett's door down when he was a quarterbacks coach at the Miami Dolphins. I don't care what the Baltimore Ravens were talking about with Jason Garrett. Nobody was beating Jason Garrett's door down to be the head coach. That was 10 years of y'all front office trying to force him down our throat, and y'all saw he wet, no good. So you bring in Kellen Moore under the same tree of Linehan, the same tree of Garrett, the same person, because remember, Jason Garrett used to start getting pass happy too. And here's the thing with Kellen Moore, what BJ was talking about, we was running the ball. I feel like Kellen Moore almost wants to just shut us up in the beginning of the game. See, I'm running. Now shut up. Now I'm going to start throwing the ball. I ran the ball, you guys. I ran it. Did you see me run the ball? Now we're going to throw the ball now, because I showed y'all I ran it. I ran it 5 straight plays. We got positive yards. Now y'all shut up. Now I'm about to throw 10 straight times. Now be quiet. That's what I feel like it is. And it's just maddening when you just sit there and watch it like, what the hell is this dude doing? And I was a Kellen Moore supporter, for real. Like, people were getting on me. You support Kellen Moore too much. I'm like, bro, I'm trying to give him a chance. I think he's doing okay. But after I seen last year, when I see people calling him out, and then when I go look at it, and then after all that talk, like BJ said, and you said, Chris, Space, and DMV, after all this damn talk in the offseason, we getting tougher. We getting stronger. We gonna do this. We doing that. Tony Pollard, he gonna be in the spot. Turpin, he gonna play some receiver. You said all that, and as soon as you played the damn game, it went all out the damn window. Shut up.
That's it.
I mean,
and here we are. As I tell everybody, it's basically honeymoon until week 1, and the honeymoon ended expeditiously Sunday night with these Cowboys and what was going on in Kellen Moore and the crew on offense.
I want to say this real quick, if you don't mind. The thing that kind of bugs me so much too is, like, we talk about the coaching, we talk about all. See, I'm a fundamental belief of, listen, if you want to run your team a certain way, I don't give a damn. Do whatever you want. What's that? You don't want to go sign Dak to this deal because you think that you're overpaying him? Okay. Go let him walk. I want to see what your options are. Oh, you're going to bring in Andy Dalton. You're going to draft some dude in the 5th round and hope to Christ that he's going to work out. Okay, that's cool with me. Oh, what's that? You're going to basically disrespect D-Law regardless your feelings on him. I don't care. He's good still. Oh, we're going to give you like a 1-year, $10 million deal. And then D-Law goes out and he's like, hey, you know what? I felt like this was some disrespectful shit or, stuff like that. And then the town, everyone's like, yeah, D-Law's doing a good thing. He's taking the hometown discount. And they don't do shit with it. And so this is why I hate it when people tell me like, oh, Space, I just think these players need to take a hometown discount. Bitch, for what? Like, seriously, like, why? Listen, why? And I mean that. Like, I'm not. I know I'm trying to be funny and try to lighten the mood, but on a serious note, like, you need to provide an incentive. Like, and you're not. And it's just, it feels as if, listen, if we're complaining about buyer's remorse and all these players, then either you pay these guys earlier so they're not as big of a price, like, or just let them walk. Listen, I don't care. You know what? You lay the bed you're gonna sleep in. You make the bed you're gonna lie in. I mean, and that's just where we're at. And I think that that's the part that bugs the hell out of me is like they wait and wait and wait, and then they finally pay someone, and then they complain, oh, well, at the end of the day, there's only so much pie to go around because of that quarterback contract. Oh, that we're going to hear, oh, well, we got to make room for that Micah Parsons contract and all this other nonsense. And it's just like, dude, if that's all you're going to talk about, listen, I would love it just for the Cowboys to have like $100 million in cap space and do nothing with it, just because I want to see, like, I'm at the point where it's like, listen, just do you. Go ahead. Let him, if you don't want Dak, let him go. If you don't want D-Law, let him go. I'm not going to fight anybody on that. Listen, if you want to have that happen and you fundamentally believe that, I'm not saying anyone on the panel does. I'm more so talking about the front office in general. If you fundamentally believe that's the best way to build a team, do it. But I don't want to hear anybody crying like, oh, well, we miss this person because we aren't looking so good here. And it's just, it's annoying. That's all I'm going to end off on that.
And one thing that I've noticed too, I was talking to my good buddy yesterday. We were talking about how good Micah played yesterday, and we talked about Zach Martin, and we didn't realize that Zach Martin is about 32 years old or something like that. He's getting up there in age, like his career, like we're wasting his career.
He already said too. He said his wife's ready for him to come home anyways. He said that in training came out in Oxnard.
We only got a couple more years with him if we got that.
I'm sorry, I'm knocking on wood. You said a couple more.
It almost makes me say to myself, damn, like look at Zach Martin. Like maybe we should set Micah free. I know he's only been here for a year and
2 years. Just get rid of him. We don't want to wait. We don't want to waste his career, huh?
Yeah.
Listen, man, there's only so much pie to go around at the end of the day. I don't want to pay that contract. But listen, that's just the truth of the matter. And I know I
He's the only one that's going to get paid. Let's keep it real, because now you found out about CeeDee Lamb. They're not paying CeeDee Lamb that money now. He's not getting paid. And I'm going to tell you right now, I told you, like last year, they looked at that yardage with Diggs, what everybody was talking about. Yeah, they looked at them interceptions, but I guarantee you they looked at that yardage. And when they come into contract year and he gives up a lot of yardage, you better believe they're going to use that against him. Well, we like you, but you did give up a lot of yards again, so I don't know if we're going to pay you that money. And you already heard Trevin Diggs already talking about it could be reunited to my brother and stuff. You don't think these other teams will throw big money at him and Dallas is going to match it with Trevin Diggs? No, they're not. They're not going to jump out there and get no battle with that. Right. They're going to give a set number for Diggs, and if somebody goes above it, they're going to be like, well, we'll just draft. That's their thought. We'll just draft somebody else and we'll just start over with it, and we're just going to get another talented player. But I just keep going back to what BJ said, man, that's a deadly game. It's just crazy to me how Stephen Jones wants to gamble on young talent who is unproven because it's cheap. And you will not, you don't have to get 5 freaking superstar free agents, but you can get a couple. You can manipulate the cap. You can just get a couple that can really elevate your team. But you don't want to take that gamble on that because of the money. And that is what is hurting our team.
Yeah, I mean, just look at the Randy Gregory situation, and you were set to give him big money for what he's done in this league so far, according to the money that you're going to pay him. It falls apart. We talked about that ad nauseum. I'm not going to do that. But here's Von Miller, and you're like, same as you just said. Hey, here's the same contract. Oh, somebody offered you more. Bye. And it's silly. Which the guy said he would play for cheaper, just not that cheap. And you look, and I'm watching the game. I was on my cruise, enjoying my time. I'm watching the game. I was like, wow, look at Von Miller. Looks like he's still playing the damn game pretty good. And not only was it the fact of what he was doing, Buffalo had problems getting to the quarterback last year in general. You saw other guys, because of his impact there, get loose, defensive tackles. That helps everything across the board, but they don't believe in that around here, apparently. It's just frustrating.
Or they believe, fellas, that they can get a lower grade of a Von Miller and a Dante Fowler, and maybe he can catch lightning in the bottle, and that'll help guys. But we believe that, hey, those guys' names carries weight, and so Von Miller's name is going to carry weight. There's going to be a defensive coordinator going to say, you know what, that guy right there. Now he may not be Denver Von Miller, but he was sure hell of a good player last year to help them win the Super Bowl. So we're going to have to pay attention, and that gives Neville Gallimore and Osa Odighizuwa and Tristan Hill, those guys, maybe not as much attention. And I definitely believe that. Last night, what I found out and what I saw, man, with DeMarcus Lawrence is still a grade A player in this league, and people still fear him to a certain extent. But now that I think that they're just going to put Mike on one side and rush him from either side, I think you lose the chess piece mentality that you used him with, because now you're just going to say, oh, we're just going to put him on this side and we're just going to rush him in. Him coming from A and B gap would have been great last night. That would have been another way of working out. It's just, like I said, it's the frustration that all of us have, and we're sitting here right now saying, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense. But none of us have ever got a check written from Jerry Jones and say, hey, James, you tell me your idea. Sit in and get a couple more. Hey,
right.
I
got a question for you, though, Chris. I got a question for you, Chris.
Go ahead.
Because people been getting on me. I don't care. I'm not a D-Law guy. I'm sorry. I'm not.
Okay.
I don't hate on him. I say he's a very good player. He's not great to me. I'm tired of people always talking about how he just stops the run. He does. But they didn't pay him that kind of money to stop the run. That's not why they paid him that money. When he got that big contract, is because he got 14 and a half sacks and then 10 and a half sacks in that. That's why they paid him that money, not to be a great defender. There's plenty of very good run defenders and guys who get pressure. Now, let me ask you this. If you didn't have Micah Parsons in that game, Tampa Bay probably scores those touchdowns?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
So what I'm saying is this. Okay, see, what I'm saying is this about D-Law. Everybody's always talking about D-Law, and every week he's always talking, we going to do this, I'm going to do that. But you don't do it. And all I'm saying is you don't do it. Yeah, you stop some runs. Okay. They said they ran away from your side. I get that. You know what I mean? I need to watch the all 22 tape before I hear all that. I got to watch it for myself before I see that, because I felt like Trevin Diggs was the weak link and you kept attacking that. But my thing is, you supposed to be he needs to get, to me, double-digit sacks this season to be even more of a force. And what I'm saying is, if you didn't have that Micah Parsons, when they drove all the way down the field and they had a threat to score, Micah Parsons was that guy getting through and making that big sack to make them kick that field goals. If he's not in that game, when people keep on talking about D-Law this, D-Law that, he is not the difference maker, because if you didn't have Parsons in that game, to me, they score touchdowns. Yeah. Okay, this defense is one of the reasons why this defense is great, because of Micah Parsons, not because of DeMarcus Lawrence. If you take Micah Parsons off this defense ain't going to be crazy like that. And if we're relying on D-Law to be the guy on defense, if you took a Micah Parsons away, this defense is going to go through some struggles.
Look at what happened last year.
Yeah, and I mean, even to go back to the idea of Parsons going to defensive end, it's funny because when we were doing the due diligence show earlier today around 1, my guy Mass was like, they should just move his win rate. His rush win rate was like 60-some-odd% and everything. I was like, no, and I agree with you there, Chris. I wouldn't do that, because now you're letting people know where he's at and what you can do. And now there's more Fournette smacking him in the side when he's up on somebody. The idea and what makes him great is, hey, he does everything really good anyway.
Right.
And you don't want to take that away from the linebacker spot, but it's in the cases of when you use them and where, so they don't know where it's coming from. And I think that all kind of matters together. So I wouldn't either. I wouldn't put Parsons strictly at D end and walk away and say we're good here. I wouldn't do it. I'll continuously use him in that realm.
Yeah, I think to keep the flow of this defense the way it's going, especially with J-Ron going out, my biggest question, I know y'all gonna dig into it this week. I'm definitely, who gets the green dot? because I really don't want him with the green dot. And I don't think it's the fact that his football IQ is so low. I just think I don't want him having to worry about everything else going on. I like the Bobby Boucher mentality he has right now. Just go get ball, hit ball. That's what he is. And then just continue to sprinkle in with other people. But man, I mean, we're like, you know, we like Bone Thugs and Harmony, man. We had a crossroad. And week 1, we had a straight crossroad, man. And week 1, because, you know, get that shout out to James because he up in the OHIO, man. You know, it's crazy, man, because now I don't know, dude, I'm probably gonna go out tonight, do my thing, man, and I'm still gonna say I don't know what the heck we gonna do, man, because we're gonna be right back here next week.
Saying the same thing.
Well, I think we're gonna be here next week, going against a team that we think it isn't as good as the rest of the world thinks they are.
They're not.
Have a chance to win,
but
not being put enough points to beat them, and they're gonna get out with a win, and you're just gonna be sitting there banging your head against the wall. Yo, Amari Cooper has been beating Chidobe Awuzie in his sleep since he got here. He could have been going for 12 catches, 160 yards, and 3 tubs, and we get out of here with Cooper Rush, but we ain't got that.
Hey, Chris, you gonna tell me right now, Amari Cooper would not help a Cooper Rush right now?
Listen, man,
you know what I'm saying? You feel me? When you have,
we just said he said Cooper Rush sends him a small stipend every month because that's the only win he would ever got without him. Amari is the reason we won that game against Minnesota. The defense was amazing, but without that tip pass up the sideline that he caught and that acrobat catch in the back of the end zone, we don't win that game.
Yep. Yeah, because he caught the game-winning touchdown, right?
He got the winner. The last 2 of the last 4 passes he completed in that game was to Amari Cooper. The one up the sideline, Zeke caught one underneath to get down towards the goal line, and he caught the one in the back of the end zone, I think on 3rd and goal to win the game. So, I mean, listen.
And now
like
Cooper Rush is rolling out with Dennis Houston, Simi Fehoko, Noah Brown, CeeDee Lamb, who is and that's what Cooper Rush is going to work with, and he's already suspect. Man, it's going to be miracles. Like, them other teams are just going to have to play like trash. Like, they're just going to have to play like trash in those games. We feel like our defense is going to keep us in there, but, I mean, it's going to have to be kind of them lucky plays because, remember, in that Vikings game, Cooper Rush hit Cedric Wilson on that big touchdown. I was like, he threw that? I was surprised he threw that. And he got that touchdown. So it had to be, it's going to have to be, I said that was a Jason Garrett game last year because he got the red hair. He played the one game. He never started. I felt like that was a Jason Garrett Thanksgiving game. He ain't going to do that all year, though.
Something has to give, man, because it's like this, right? Like, we have the defense. We have Micah Parsons, D-Law. Those guys can beat the hell out of the Bengals O-line, but it's like Jamar Chase is such a damn animal that we don't got nobody for him per se, and that's Trayvon Diggs included.
Joe Mixon's pretty good too.
Matter of fact, remember what happened the last time they played against each other in college?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's college.
Yeah, I mean, dude.
That's college.
Just let me just go. I'm just about to go.
Throw that away.
Thanks, I appreciate that.
But I mean, there was a comment that I saw from Carlos Holloway that I mentioned on Twitter, and actually, it's funny because it's true. Because listen, I know people have short-term memory sometimes in sports because it's like a long off season. What's hilarious is, remember when we were in that little playoff run and there was a conversation of, oh, where's Von going to get traded to? And the Cowboys are in the mix. And it was like, oh, we're making, our phone lines are always open, Talent 365, whatever the hell. And then they didn't do it. They're like, well, at the end of the day, we want to keep our whatever the hell they said. But basically, like, we don't want to do it because we value this more so. And we don't want to ruin the cap or whatever. Then not even a year later, Steven comes out and he goes like, we made a conscientious decision not to go after Von Miller. And you don't get a guy like him for a playoff, unless it's for a playoff run. I'm like, wait a minute. I know the hell you did not just say that and act like you're going to get away with that. Like anybody that caught that, I was like, man, this guy is literally lying straight to your face. And if you even like put the two interviews next to each other, it's just funny to me how like no one can see it. And I'm pretty sure most people could see it now. But listen, man,
No, I think Space we do see it. It's just the fact of the matter, you see it, and all the different things that all the different networks that we try not to listen to, or we haven't listened to for years, is kind of really coming back. You had people saying, "Hey, this is a mom and pop organization." They believe that they're smarter than everybody else, and this is the stuff that you guys have been echoing since I've been watching y'all. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, yeah, and it'd be like sometimes, man, I always with James, I always laugh, man, because I be scared James gonna bust a gasket, man, because he gets so
I'm just waiting for him to do it again.
Dude,
What?
he's so mad
let the
about
build
it. I
up.
be wondering, like, bro, it's okay, man. It's nothing we can do about it, because here's the irony of it. We get mad when Jerry's doing this stuff. Listen here, man. I truly believe the day that Jerry leaves here, that's gonna be the worst day for us as a Cowboy fan base ever, because you're gonna deal with a cat.
Steinbrenner.
Dude, I'm almost to the point I want Charlotte to run it, because I at least know Charlotte about the bottom line, bro. I want Charlotte to run this joint, man, and I think Charlotte is enough to say, you know what, I'm gonna get out the way, and
because she'll move out the way, and I'll find the people to do the job, and I'm gonna sit back and I'm gonna go make my money. I'm gonna go sit back and be quiet and make this Dallas Cowboy organization make money, and I'm gonna let the football people do their job. And if they don't do the job in a certain amount of time, I'm gonna fire you. I'm gonna fire somebody else.
Hey.
That's how you're supposed to do it. Because even Jerry Jones said himself, if I was a general manager on the outside in looking at me, I fired myself. But guess what?
Right.
I don't have that luxury.
But I don't
fire myself.
And I think for us, I know it sounds crazy, but I think for us as a fan base, that's what we want to have happen. We want to kind of like a teeny bus of damn football.
It's not gonna happen.
And do this and just put people into place, because
what
I was saying to my wife this morning. I said, it's a damn shame that the average person on the street has no idea who the other 31 owners are. But they know exactly who the owner of the Dallas Cowboys is. They know without question who he is. And you don't have another owner doing weekly radio drops. You ain't got another operation guy doing weekly radio drops, undermining the coach like it always has. And y'all say go get an alpha coach. But if you're an alpha coach, you're an alpha male. You really want to come here?
Right.
Yeah, and then
you really want to come here
from a distance, man, especially when it's a rich clown. You know what I'm saying? Like that's exactly what it is. It's the circus.
Yeah. So I mean, so we can sit up here all night and talk about this front office. I'm saying right now, I'm putting it out there, right brick on my brick. If we get blown out on Sunday, I'm trying to get the top 3 pick in the draft. I'm trying to fleece somebody and get me at least 2 in the year after.
So who are you drafting? If you get a top 5 pick, what position are you drafting?
He's trying to trade
me personally. Well, I'm okay. If I get a top 5 pick, what I need most, honestly, is a left tackle, because you're not going to keep Tyler Smith there? No, I push Tyler back inside. I want to get nasty inside. I want to get nasty Tyler inside. Smith at tackle? No, I like him at tackle. He played good. I like him at tackle. I love him at guard. Does that make sense? I like him at tackle. He played well last night. The moment wasn't too big for him. He anchored down. It's going to take time. He's going to get better. I just want to solidify my own line. A wide receiver. Do you think they would draft a quarterback? No.
I think they will.
I don't think they will.
I think they would. I don't
think they would draft one. I don't think they draft one. Not so much because they're in love with it. The problem with them, they gotta keep they like a soap opera. They gotta keep you coming back every week to find out what's going to happen.
I'm telling you, if they had a top pick, I feel like if they had a top pick, just me they would go after a quarterback.
But the
That top
problem is
because they
the
would
amount
play
of
that. You know what they would do, Chris? They would play
Yes, sir.
that best player available. We got this top quarterback out there. We couldn't say no.
So-
We couldn't say no to this.
This
No,
is kind of this
go
is
ahead.
That means our coach is gone then. That
So-
means
so
our
this
coach
is-
is
right.
this is-
out.
well, this is what I felt,
You still
right?
got
Hey,
Sean
guys,
Payton
hey,
out there.
Hey guys, I gotta run. I'm sorry. I gotta step out.
Hey, Nick,
No,
man,
hey, I
thanks
gotta
for
get ready to
kicking
go
it
in
with
the
us,
Thank you,
man.
bro.
Yeah,
I
absolutely,
got
guys.
5 more
Appreciate
minutes,
y'all.
my guy.
Hey man,
Okay,
hey,
cool.
hey, hit me
That's
whenever.
good,
Y'all
5
know I'm
minutes.
down.
All
No
right,
doubt,
I'll,
man.
hey, I'll talk to you next.
Have a good
All
one,
right,
boss.
y'all be
Hey,
safe,
be
guys.
safe.
Appreciate
too,
you,
guys.
champ.
Hey, and by the way, big game. Ain't no way you 50. I see you though, dog.
I appreciate you,
Big
big dog.
Ain't no
Yeah,
way.
I appreciate
Ain't no
you, big
way.
dog. Thank
But-
you. That makes me feel good, big dog.
That's awesome.
That's
But
what's up.
and I said this last year, and I know I think I even said it in a couple videos. I said, listen, if Dallas was to get a top 3 pick, Zach Wilson would have been your quarterback right now. Like, I'm talking about that 2021 draft. They would not have paid Dak because they would have had the out. They had
Yep,
no.
I think that definitely, I can totally agree with that.
Because the fact of the matter is that you look at where we're at, and I'm not saying that like I agree with that because I have my own fundamental opinion because we kind of look, we had the lay of the land there, but you had the out there. What's going to make this so damn difficult for Dallas is if they do draft a quarterback, now you're trying to press Dak to get the hell out of here. And because he has a no trade clause, because he can't tag him again, you got to be like, listen, bro, like if you don't want to be like, I feel like that's why, and kind of going back to my point of the sabotage point is like, they're trying to get him emotionally checked out here in Dallas so that they can be like, hey, listen, bro, do you want to still be here? Now, it just feels like there's something there. And I would not be shocked if they're like, hey, we like CJ Stroud or Bryce Young or who was, but that's if they get like a top 5 pick. If they get like a top 10 pick, I don't think they would do something like that.
If it's top 5, I think they would too, but not a top 10. And this is just what I felt, Chris and DMV and Space Cowboy. This is my personal opinion. I just feel like Stephen Jones never really wanted Dak. I just feel it in my heart because
they don't like that. He's not one of them.
Because he keeps every time you hear him, even when Dak was negotiating getting his contract, he kept talking about it. And even now, they keep talking about when they talk about everybody else's deals and they talk about the whole scope of things, they always come back to, well, we're paying Dak that money. Do you always hear them say it? They slide it in there. Right. Well, we're paying Dak that money. Well, and I'm just don't. And Jerry Jones, they said it was documented where he said he was going throughout the building before they paid Dak and said, Dak's our quarterback, right? You believe in Dak, right? Dak is our quarterback. It was documented he was going through there and saying that. And then you don't hook up your quarterback with talent on the offensive side of the ball. It's like Dave Hellman came out and said it on first. He said it, and I have been saying it, where he feels like there's sabotage is going on. How can you not feel that way when you see it? Because it's the easy out for the Joneses to get the fans to turn on Dak. We look like the heroes. Well, you know what? We tried to do this. It didn't work. We're going to go back in the draft, and we're going to go ahead and get this young player because that's what Stephen Jones is about, them young, cheap players in those first deals.
And I want to add – go ahead, Chris.
Go ahead, Space.
I just wanted to say this in conjunction with James. I guarantee you if they go get a Bryce Young, the same damn thing's going to happen, man. They're going to – as soon – unless like he's – well, even if he is like best quarterback in the league, if that's like – if that happens hypothetically, they're still going to play hardball. And, listen, I loved Tony. I love Dak. And I've seen what this front office has done. But the one thing that bothered me, and I know that we kind of saw Steven come more into it towards the later stages of Tony's career, but it felt like when Romo had that big contract, they weren't talking about that contract. It was only when Dak got that. Well, even before that, I'm sorry. When Dak started his second year, they were talking about that contract. And they kept talking about it all the way until Charlotte basically told Steven, get your dumb ass together and get him his goddamn money. Stop fucking around. And that's the problem.
I've always had this problem, and I've made it my point not to talk about that guy because he's 7-9 years removed. But because he built that stadium for him, and he became relevant, they felt like they had to pay him. Nobody ever questioned it. I remember the year they turned around and they gave his extension, and I quit watching because I was like, wait a minute, this dude turned around and didn't make the playoffs. We had a losing season, and you extended him without question. You made him the highest paid quarterback in the NFL. So my problem came down to when you saw him that sick, you should have turned around that third year, the year after Zeke got suspended. That third year you should have paid him right then and there just to get ahead of whatever was going on. To turn around and franchise him and play him through that whole mess and him breaking his leg and him coming back and all that, you made it a bigger spectacle than it had to be because you weren't losing enough to be in position to go get one of those guys. And because, like we've always said, they love young, talented, cheap people, they were never going to give up. Their capital was the draft. So they weren't going to go up in the draft and go get a Zach Wilson or go up in the draft and go get somebody like that. So, man, right now, I'm not saying you stuck with Rain, but I definitely believe you need to put better pieces around him because who doesn't? You know, let's just, you trade the Kansas City Chiefs. The Kansas City Chiefs turn around and say, okay, we lost Tyreek Hill. All right. Sammy Watkins ain't playing here no more. Let's go get a Sky Moore. Let's go get it. Let's go get a Juju Smith-Schuster. Yeah,
because they believe, but Chris, they believe in Pat though. That's the difference.
Well, I mean, but they believe in Pat. They believe in Pat to the point where they believe in him, but they give him pieces. Because I don't care how much you believe in a guy, you still gotta give him pieces.
Right.
You had
that's
pieces
why
here.
I feel like that's what I'm saying.
They have a better coach than we have.
They got a better coach, and that offense.
I
just feel like
hands down, Andy's a better coach. I just believe they continue to put pieces in place.
Right.
There was no need to do what you did in the offseason to get you to this point. So even if you are sabotaging them, so now if we see they sabotaging him, and you're gonna get rid of Mike because Mike's sitting back like, hey man, no matter what y'all do, I'm good. And if you bring Quinn out the box, who are you gonna make the OC? And then the guy, and if DQ is like, listen, I'm gonna run the defense, kind of like what Todd Bowles is doing. Who are you gonna bring as the OC? And is that OC going to work with the bull crap you got sitting here on the roster? Because come next year, you're gonna lose. I mean, not lose, but Noah Brown, he's gonna want a contract. You got other guy. Only guy that's gonna be in the contract wide receiver wise is gonna be CD. So now you're gonna have to go draft more young wide receivers who are gonna have to develop because you're not gonna spend money in free agency. And so you're right back in the same thing. And if I'm an OC, I'm not doing that. I'm not getting myself in that position. I'm going to lose both my running backs because I want to get both of them out the building. So what you going to do? You're going to draft Emmett Son out of Stanford and some other cat just so you can put jerseys in the seats? Put fans in the seats? You see, I understand the sabotage part. My problem is if you don't come back in midseason and get to the playoffs and lose and be able to talk about that, you go in the next season, you really can go into a deeper hole because you got to replenish so much on this team offensively.
The clock's ticking on Dak, y'all. That's all I'm gonna say about it. The clock is ticking on Dak.
I got you.
I'm gonna end it with that. The clock is ticking on him. This offense is about to get blowed up. If this team does not play good this year, this whole offense is about to get blowed up. Watch.
And I think that
I can see him not playing good. But my question is, if the clock is ticking on him and you're not playing well, right? Then you're either going to have to say, we're going to tank out the gate to go get a young quarterback, but you still got to go get other pieces. You're not just going to go get a quarterback. You got to go get a running back and you got to go get another wide receiver. Oh, guess what? And a tight end. So why is the clock ticking on Dak?
See, and unless
you're going to go against your philosophy and start using free agency. Ain't that something?
So this is my kind of long-term plan, and I don't want to take too much of your guys' time. So let's just say Sean Payton's the guy. Like, let's say
Sean Payton. I don't care about Sean Payton.
No. Let's listen. Let's just say the Joneses get what they want. Hey, New Orleans will give you, I don't know, a fifth round. I don't know.
No, you're not going to see it. And there goes that part. Because you're going to have to give up major compensation to go get in there.
Right, and they're going to get fleeced there. So you know what? Let's just say they're stupid and they give up a third or fourth. I don't know. Let's just say they give up dumb draft compensation. Point being, and they got a top 3 pick, right? So now you have Sean Payton in here, and you're like, okay, you know what? He's bringing all his guys in, or the Jones is going to meddle and be like, no, you got to keep this guy. So if that first thing happens, okay, this whole operation's fucked. Then the next step, okay, are you going to do anything in free agency? Okay, if you start doing stuff in free agency, okay, he's your buddy. You're going to trust him to like listen to what he wants. All right, maybe, okay, but I doubt that's going to happen. Then the final part, right? The timeline, and this is why the no trade clause, and I'm just speaking this as objectively as possible because, listen, at some point you have to say, look, man, like if you honestly feel that Dak isn't your quarterback as a front office perspective, which I'm like, listen, I'm cool if you want to keep him. If you want to get rid of him, that's up to you. I'm not here to argue with any of that. But if you're like, I don't think that Dak is the guy from a GM perspective and he has a no trade clause, you have one of two ways of going about this. You can either be like, okay, I think Bryce Young is the next big thing, or whoever you like, your fancy, whatever. Do you take him and be like, okay, here you go, but now Dak's still here for 2 more seasons? Or do you trade that pick, get as much draft capital as possible as you build this team up, and go with the free agency stuff? Then the following year, the year after that, then you make a play. That's the problem, is that I need to see those things change. If you get your buddy in here and you still operate the same, I'm not even going to give a damn anymore, because you're literally going out of your way to get your best friend or Jerry's best friend to come in here and run this thing. And if you're not going to be willing to give him what he wants to do, if he wants to play hardball like that, it doesn't matter what you do at that point. It really doesn't.
But going back to what you said, Space, you keep saying there's these 2 words that just don't exist in the Dallas Cowboy vernacular: free agency.
Exactly.
We're not going to work in free agency.
No,
We're
that's
not
my
going to do
thing.
anything in free agency. Right.
That is the thing. Yep.
So what we're doing is we're really walking ourselves into a timeline, and we're going to be sitting here next year at the same time, around the same time, saying, oh, the clock's ticking on Dak. But Dak's going to look at you like, how you going to put the clock on me if you're not giving me the adequate pieces to work to make to be successful? You're going to give me a Big 12. And I want y'all to look at this one, and I'm not even going to take credit for this. I want y'all to go back and tell me the last Big 12 wide receiver that really was that guy. Okay. I got a kid, he's pretty good. And I'm sitting there looking like, I'm trying to think the last Big 12 guy who was a monster in this league. So we're asking CD to be something that the pedigree out of that conference and those players has not happened. But you sent away a guy who was a dog and was that guy. So now you still gonna have to go on the draft next year.
I was
go find another wide receiver.
I would
find another 2
top picks. If you got a Chase and you sitting right there, a Chase type, you got to get him.
See what I'm saying? But so you go get a Chase type, right? So but now you're putting CD on the clock that you're gonna let him walk out the building, right? And you ain't gonna pay Dalton because Dalton getting out the building, right? And your offensive line is starting to age because you're looking at your right guard and you're saying he's getting longer than 2. You see what I'm saying? This thing was set up, and like you guys have said, and y'all said it beautifully. We've gone over, we ran this thing around. This thing was set up. We were thinking it was set up to, bring Sean Payton in. But really what it was just really set up to reset the whole thing, to put us back to the point of wondering what's going to happen next. And we still ain't got a clue what these jokers are going to do, because they don't play with all 3 phases of the team building process. Because you negate free agency, you keep this from being able to be a productive, viable organization. You just keep it really as an entertainment guide for us with some really snazzy colors in that daggum starters behind James's head.
Yeah. So guys, I gotta cut this thing. I got the wife, I got the kids making noise.
Hey man, me too, man. I gotta go to work, man. I gotta go do all that good stuff too, man. I ain't got money flowing out, like James. And I ain't a secret agent like Space, man. But I just want to tell y'all, man, I appreciate y'all, man. I speak for Brandon, man. We have watched all you guys, man, in awe and in reverence, and we're just happy to have the opportunity to kick it with y'all, man. Anybody that's in the chat, man, you can follow me and my man BH at Frankly Football. And we're out there, man. We try to put a little content together, man, to be viable in this YouTube world. And I appreciate y'all time, bro.
Yeah, definitely. I'm gonna get Brandon on here. I just knew I just knew you guys together tonight was gonna put fire together. You know what I'm saying? I just
Yeah,
knew
yeah,
you
man.
guys.
Hey, man.
You know,
I just like being in this room with this man because I just was hoping James don't pass out an aneurysm on YouTube, man. That was my thing. The whole
You
thing
know,
got me
I be trying to be normal in the beginning, then it just starts. I just talking normal, and then it starts bubbling in my chest and stomach, and then it starts just blurting out. But
No
Yeah,
doubt.
you had
hey.
one of the all-time great rants. I gotta go get that clip, but it was definitely one of the good ones. But guys,
Yeah, man. One of the best, man. Yeah,
plug your
it is.
channels, please. Plug your channels because a lot of people watch this tonight, and a lot of people will watch it. So I'll plug your channels and let them know where they can find you.
Well, I'll just go first. I appreciate everybody. I appreciate you, Chris. First time I got to talk to you, had a great time, great knowledge, great guy. I really like
Appreciate
what
you,
you
man.
bring to the table, and I really like it. Space Cowboys, really like the second time we've been on.
yeah, we did something with Law earlier.
We did one before, so it's good to talk to you again, man. I hadn't seen you in a while, so it's very good to talk to you. I appreciate you, DMV. Always blessed that you know, I'm honored when you hit me up and jump in my inbox and allow me to jump on your channel. So I'm always honored that you allow me to do that. But if you want to check me out, Big Game James, you can check me out on YouTube, my Facebook, and my Twitter page. Is just type in Big Game James. You know it's about these Cowboys, but like the selfish plug, I'm doing this thing with these high school athletes. Please go support them. We got a lot of great high school athletes we've been having on. I got another great interview. Go ahead, DMV.
I'm about to say Chris's son is the best receiver in Virginia. You might
Well,
want to.
then he need to get up on here, man. We don't play around with that, dog. Chris over there playing around. Chris over there playing.
Hey, man,
Chris over there playing. Then.
Hey, listen, man. I just, you know, hey, man, I'm always modest and humble,
The
man.
humbleness. I feel you.
You remember He Got Game when Denzel was sitting in the prison. He said, "Listen, I've always thought my son was the best player before he was the number 2 or 3 greatest player in the United States." Yeah, man. Hey, listen, bro. Anytime you would want to have opportunity to talk to him, man, and plug him, man. Yeah, man. He's a monster, man. My kid is a monster. I'll tell that before anybody.
And that's what I love to hear.
That's what
I love to hear because, like I said, it's about the youth. It's about the young.
Yeah, man. That is dope. What you're doing, though. Yeah, I saw. Yeah, it's dope.
So many negative things about the young people out there in these streets, and it's crazy out there. I just want to continue to open the doors for these guys. But have a lot of great young men. And the good thing about it is, man, a lot of these guys that are on, a lot of these young men are on the channel, man, they got really good grades. They're doing a lot of things outside of football, a lot of great things. So just please go support that. I got another great interview dropping tomorrow. So please just go support that. Chris, holla at me, get in my inbox, man, because I really would love to interview your son.
I definitely do.
And just hear his story. So I appreciate everybody. I got to get off here right now, but I appreciate y'all. Thank you for the love. And let's just keep on doing this, man. Let's keep on making this community great. You feel me?
Yep.
And then I'll go ahead and I'll listen. James does amazing stuff with these high school athletes, man. It's awesome,
man.
Because I absolutely love seeing this type of highlights of these young athletes that, you know, especially with sometimes like people don't really understand the full aspect of these high school athletes. And I think that that's something that's extremely important. So I'm really appreciative of what he's doing there. And then Chris, you know, I always love kicking with you and Brandon. So it's always fun when we get together.
No
and
doubt, man.
At DMV, it's always fun to come around and just, you know, talk about these Cowboys. Now, if you want to follow me, you can follow me at Space Cowboy Media. Listen, I think you do yourself a disservice if you don't follow these guys, myself included, even though I always get shit because they're like, Space, you're always so negative. And I'm like, you know what? That's just part of the shtick. And you know what? I really don't care anymore. So if you want to see me just bitch and complain, just subscribe. I mean, I don't care. I mean,
no doubt.
But yeah, thank you so much. This was fun, guys. It was
absolutely. Shit, we went about 45 minutes over, but it's all good. I think that it was worth it. I think it was therapy for everybody involved. So
no doubt, man.
Stopping by.
Listen, appreciate y'all having me on, man. As always, man. Peace until next time, man.
Yeah. And thank you all. Make sure you like, subscribe, and comment if you weren't part of the live chat. Appreciate you guys for stopping by. Going to end it now. We out. Peace.
We out.